what? Okay, so I jump on and literally, he didn't drag me across the finish line, but he just gently nudged and encouraged me when I felt like I wanted to give up. He's like, nope, you can do it. And Roy, between the two of them and the study group, I made it through. And then I
And
went and got the PSM. So,
did you hear what she said? And not only did she get PMP, she went ahead and got the PSM. Roy, you know what that exam does to people. It's not an easy one, is it?
It's not an easy exam, but it's a good one. It's a good one to have behind you. So well worth it.
Absolutely. Well, we've spent another 30 minutes doing great stakeholder engagement. My buddy Roy was on a clock, but we've been agile, Roy. I mean, they should give us 10 out of 10, right? We're going to stay
I'm just here to
behind.
support, Phil.
Yeah, we're going to stay behind, but I really want us to jump into what Roy has to share. Roy, how do you want to do this? Because you know, we could either go the book route for those folks, but the book route is never my favorite because
Mhm.
Roy always does better without the slides. Do you want the slides, Roy, or do you want to blow up the bridge? Which one?
So we could use slides for a guide, but you know how I am, Phil. I prefer just talking.
Let's do it. So I saw a question from Charlene.
Yeah,
When you join the study group, just it organically forms.
yeah,
When you sign up, are you automatically set up with, yeah. Do we get, so you exchange phone numbers? Yeah, the team, you exchange phone
yeah.
numbers. But hey, you have to come for the immersion first. Roy and I, we created this immersion thing where you go through a mixture of agile and predictive on the same day. Okay, so just show up, and everything else will take shape. Now we're going to jump into this world of agile. I'm really excited to introduce again my buddy Roy because as a result of Roy's direct influence, not only did I finally understand what Agile was all about, but now I train Agile courses to companies, nothing but Agile. In fact, one of the universities out in Texas said, Phil, no, we don't want you to talk about that predictive stuff. We don't want to talk about PMBOK. No, we've had enough of that. Come teach us Agile. So, as a result of their request, I wrote a book applying Agile to the world of construction and linear environments. All right, my friends, you've been listening to one of our previous PM 360 episodes. It's a pleasure to be speaking to you this afternoon, wherever you're from. Thank you, my buddy Robert, for chatting in. Robert, I hope you're doing well. Always a pleasure to see you on these calls. This is a very rapid, I know it's holiday season. I know everyone's doing their Christmas shopping and wrapping and putting up, the Christmas tree and the decorations. And I'm not going to keep you too long, but this is extremely important. I know some of you are already PMPs, but I want to ask you one thing. Share this video with people who are looking to break into project management. This will be the best Christmas present you could give anyone because in the next 30 minutes, I am going to distill for you the secrets of how I, a reject from the interview at DHL, my very first interview, how I went from that to working for some of the top organizations in the United States and the world. Honeywell is well known. Motorola is well known. They don't need any announcement. General Dynamics, if you're in the world of defense and space and aero. I've worked for those companies, but it didn't start off like that. It was a very difficult journey, my friends. I started off clueless, just like some of you who are going to be watching me, clueless and not knowing how to break in. I'm going to go through my trajectory, how it started. But if there's one thing I want to drop for you, don't give up. Don't give up. I did not give up. I was trying to break into project management. I would apply to jobs. I would get one interview out of maybe 100. The DHL one was so important and I bombed it. But I didn't stop learning. And this is one thing I can tell you. If I was going to give you my 3-step formula, I'm going to give it to you right now. And everything else is going to be gravy. Number one, don't give up. You want to get into project management? Keep moving forward towards your target. But it's hard when you don't have a target, right? So, number two, keep learning. I am going to teach you a few things tonight. And I'm also going to have a hands on workshop very quick. I am going to show you how to get on to the job boards. I'm going to give you some insights as to how to apply for project management jobs. And that's going to be the 3-step magic formula. Don't give up, keep learning, apply, apply, apply. And as you apply, make sure, hey, this is important. Make sure you can use a project management tool. Did you hear what I said? Make sure you can use the project management tool of importance. Whether it's Microsoft Project, whether it's Primavera, that one's hard. Whether it's ClickUp, Asana, Smartsheets, whatever it is that the company has in that job description, make sure you can use it. You might be fortunate to see, we want someone really good in Excel. Well, maybe you're good in Excel. They want you to use Excel for the project management piece. That's it. Okay? So I know some of you need to fly off. It's okay. Those of you who are going to stay to the end, you are going to get a ton of value because I ain't going to waste your time. I'm going straight to the point. So let's jump straight in, my friends. This is Project Management Career Jumpstart. This is my way of paying it forward. I've been in the world of project management for a while. You are listening to a previous webinar with my buddy Roy Schilling, who is my Agile coach. You'll soon understand what Agile is all about when you hear me talk about Agile. But Agile is just another flavor of managing work, getting stuff done. But let's jump straight in, okay? So, section 1. In this section, we're going to cover the ever-evolving answer to project management. And the answer is very simple. Project management is a journey. It's not a destination. You're never going to get to the other end of the rainbow and say, this is the end, pot of gold. I never need to learn again. No, you're never going to get to the end of the rainbow. It is going to keep moving because project management is a journey. It's not a destination. You have to keep growing. You have to keep evolving. Okay. So what is project management? If I was going to give you the high level breakdown, I'll just say it's leadership. For the longest time, I thought project management was about tools and about techniques, and all that stuff is good. There's a part that is that, but the bare bones project management is leadership. If you have the ability to empower, guide, motivate a team, you're on the right track. And then project management is also the administrative piece. So when we say management, the management piece is the administration. It's all about being able to organize, align, track progress. Those are management kind of things, and you do need to be good at that. You also need to be adaptable. You need to be able to embrace change, evolve with tools, solve problems, and you cannot learn project management in a day. It's ever evolving. Now, let me give you the quick high level introduction to your buddy Phil, because I'm going to be speaking to you for a while. I might as well introduce myself, right? So, my name's Phil. I've been managing projects for over 2 decades. It didn't start out like this. It didn't start out with me succeeding or crushing the game. It started out, you're going to be shocked. I don't think many of you know my full story, but it started off with me working in a warehouse. That's right. Started off working in a warehouse. In fact, I often joke from warehouse to the penthouse. Oh my goodness. Oh dear. From the warehouse in London, North London. I remember that district very well. I mean, you go there today, you'll probably be scared to get out of your car. And the irony is that in this warehouse, we were dealing with designer products. And my job was to pack the boxes, stack the boxes, stock the boxes. That was my job. And one day, I remember I was kind of like just loafing around at my sister's. And she's like, you need to get off the couch. This is a job that I found in the metro. Like in London, we have the metro rail. And in the metro, you got this newspaper. Someone say, thank God for metro. Thank God for the metro. Because the metro newspaper every evening, You read the Metro. Sometimes it has some good stuff in, sometimes it's like the gossip stuff. And then there's a part of the Metro where you got those 1 inch by 2 inch ads. And in the ad, it's like, well, we need an admin person. And she's like, get up, you layabout, go for this job. Instead of just focusing on the warehouse, why don't you try this one? Maybe something good will come out of it. So I remember seeing the opportunity and saying, okay, well, I might as well. So I go to a place, it's in Shoreditch in London. I go there, sit down. I'm just being myself. Watch this. Being myself, little did I know that I was communicating an interesting personality. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Some people, they go for interviews and they're so dishwater dull, uninteresting. Ain't nobody gonna hire that. And I didn't really know this. You got to remember, this is early days. This is early 2000s. I had no idea of what was working for me and against me. But one thing that worked for me was I engaged the interviewer in conversation. I allowed my true self. I love fun. I've always loved fun. So I'm just a fun loving kind of a person. And I just get involved in banter. And this interviewer was observing me. I didn't know she was observing me. She said, you're kind of different. You're not like the others. I'm going to give you the best job possible. She goes through her little list and then she gives me a piece of paper to show up the next day. I get back to my sisters and she's like, wait a minute. What? This is where you're going? And I really didn't understand her bemusement until I got to the place the next day. Talk about pomp and pageantry, gold staircases. I'm telling you, this building, it looked like it could pass for a five-star hotel. This was my new job at a place called Salmon Smith Barney, the heart of London in Victoria. When you talk about wealth and the seat of power in the United Kingdom, we're talking about the banking industry. And I'm not talking about the crummy banks. I'm talking about Salmon Smith Barney, Travelers, Citigroup, Citibank, that whole umbrella, the red umbrella. This was my job in the blink of an eye, from a warehouse to a penthouse. Why I'm telling you this story is my going from the warehouse to the penthouse had nothing to do with what I had a certification in. Remember, I hadn't even done PMP at that time, but I went from being in the corner of a warehouse to working in one of the most prestigious banks in the United Kingdom. I went from managing boxes stuffed with designer items to managing boxes stocked with $1 million deals. I'm talking about the world of record management and archiving. I went from zero to hero. I became the archiving manager at Citibank, managing the records, managing the boxes that were stocked with contracts and deals. Now, mind you, I had my master's degree after I had joined Citibank, not before. So all I had was my bachelor's. Got into Citibank, and my boss, a huge shout out to Tim Fraser. Tim said, Phil, I'm not going to stand in your way if you want to do your master's degree. He allowed me get my master's degree. And I was working at Citibank. He said, Phil, just don't let the department sink. That guy's a hero till today. Shout out to you, Tim, if you're watching this. Tim's now retired. But why am I telling you this story, my friends? I'm telling you the story to understand. You got to be dogged, rugged, tough, expectant, and hungry. Some of you ain't hungry enough. You apply for one job or two jobs and then you give up. Don't be like that. Keep applying for every job that comes in sight that will take you from where you are to a better position. Okay? And that's the beginnings of my story, from warehouse to penthouse. But that's just the beginning. I'm going to tell you more about the story, but that's me. You're also in this presentation, I'm going to come across my buddy Roy, because I'm going to bring Roy back on to talk about Agile. My buddy Roy, he's got 30 years of IT experience across different industries, travels the globe, Middle East, Europe, here in the United States, training and coaching people. So you're going to come across Roy later on in this presentation. But for those of you that are hungry to get into project management, I just gave you the first slide. You cannot get into the world of project management thinking, okay, in a day, that's going to be it. I'm going to learn everything I need to learn in a day and I'm going to be set. No, that's not how it works. The world of project management is an evolving world, my friends. So you have to have that hunger and resilience to keep going daily. You're not going to get there in a day. You're not going to get there in a day. Oh, I see my sister Deidre. Deidre, how you doing? Deidre is at our Project Leadership Institute. Always a pleasure to see you, Deidre. Thank you for coming on. We just had, you see, this is part of what I'm saying about being dogged and rugged. Deidre and I, my buddies Ed and Daryl, and the Project Leadership Institute team, we met this morning, but again, here she's showing up for success and additional knowledge. Thank you, Deidre, for coming on. So, my friends, what I'm trying to tell you is you got to be ready for the long haul. And I'm going to distill for you project management in a few words. I've already said project management is many things. Whenever I travel the world for Praise on training project management, I see different organizations using project management lingo and approaches very differently. And this is just a cross section of the companies that I've trained worldwide. And I can tell you, project management is looked at in different ways, but there are some things that are common. Let's talk about the things that are common. There are two project management approaches. Number one is the linear predictive approach, where you plan everything out. You plan the beginning, plan the middle, plan the end, plan everything. That's one way, right? We call that predictive project management. This is very helpful for you if you're going for interviews, because if you're going for interviews and the interview is about predictive project management, it is very likely that you will get questions that are around process groups like this: initiating the project, which is authorizing it; planning the project, which is developing a coherent plan for the project; executing, which is carrying out the plan; monitoring and controlling, which is checking the work as it's going along, making sure that what you have created is indeed fit for use and conforms to requirements and satisfies the customer. And then there's closing. Those are the 5 groups of processes. So your job as a project manager is to do these things. Get involved in initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling, and closing. So if you're a newbie to project management, welcome. This is your baptism by fire. This is the world of project management, dunking you straight in. And in order to initiate, there are certain documents that we use. There's certain things that we use. The document we use to initiate is called a project charter. Now, I hope you're AI savvy, because I'm going to ask you to go to ChatGPT and just type in, create for me a project charter for a software development project, or create for me a project charter for a construction project, right? I want you to do that, because you're going to learn how this stuff is done. I'm very pragmatic about this, because I remember frustration in trying to learn, and you're trying to learn project management and no one is giving you any pragmatism. Everyone's just giving you some nebulous babble. And that's very, very troublesome and very annoying to me. So I don't want to be that trainer that gives you nebulous babble. I want to give you pragmatism, something you can take to the bank and use right now. In fact, why don't we just do that? Okay. So look at the screen carefully. You can see initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling, and closing. Okay. Let me break it down for you. Is it okay if I bring in a little bit of AI to help you? Little bit of AI? Okay. I'm going to bring in a tiny bit of AI to make it more sensible, to make it stick. Because I know some of you got an interview on Monday. Maybe you're like me that got that opportunity. You got an opportunity and someone says, come for an interview. Well, when you're in the interview, they could ask you questions. So let me show you. All right. Come with me to ChatGPT, right? You don't even need a paid version. just the unpaid, right? So, to get the most out of your learning experience, right, you can just do something like this: break down the 5 process groups by teaching me what a project charter looks like. Real simple. Real simple, please. I'm teaching you how to fish, my friends. If you do this for every aspect of project management you're clueless about, you will learn so much. Watch this. What is the charter? Think of it as the birth certificate. That's a new one, GPT. I like that. Think of it as a birth certificate for your project. Officially starts the project, giving it authorization. I like that. I've never heard of the birth certificate analogy. See, I learned something. Yeah, I learned. So, this is what a project charter looks like. See? Project charter components, project name, purpose, scope, blah blah blah, and it breaks it down. What is in the project manager and the authority. But I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to say, can you put this in a docx file? Let's see if GPT has become as generous as I'm hoping it is, because way back you would have had to get the paid version for it to put it in a docx file and for it to pretty it up. But I'm hoping that maybe, just maybe, it's going to allow us to do that. Oh, wow. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. docx. Easy. Wow. Isn't that wild? It's actually allowing me to create a project charter docx with the free. This is the free. You got to understand, this is not paid. This is free. So if you are learning project management, I've given you a master prompt to say, teach me the 5 process groups in documentation, and number 1 is the project charter. Isn't that cool? So let me take this off and let me show you what ChatGPT has created, because the way we learn these days, it's changed. It's not what it used to be. You got to use the power of artificial intelligence to go faster, quicker, stronger, be ahead of the pack, especially if you have an interview coming up. GPT is your friend, because it can take that job description and tell you what you need to be thinking about. So here's a project charter. What is the project charter? It's a birth certificate, project name, the project purpose, the project scope, key stakeholders, deliverables, milestones, budget and resource. And you could make this as easy or as complex as it needs to be. Okay, so that's number 1. Okay, that's the first document. If you have a project management interview and you want to demonstrate an awareness, I would say, know your 5 process groups that I'm going to teach you tonight, that I'm teaching you right now. Okay, so that's step 1. The step 1 is the project charter. Let's go to step 2. Step 2. So if you're going for a project management interview, project management job, you're trying to break into project management, you should understand that you plan. So you could say, develop a project management plan for this endeavor. Short and sweet, please. And boom, without missing a beat, project management plan for a community park. You have the executive summary, you have the objectives of the project, the key milestones, the dates. So a milestone just shows an event's accomplishment. The accomplishment of an endeavor, an event, has 0 duration, but it shows accomplishment. So it's giving us some examples of deadlines. It's given us an example of a high level scope. Now, in an actual project management plan, you would go deeper than this. Here's a budget. Those are the team roles. That's a communication plan. So, like in my career, I've worked in different project management jobs, everything from creating a project management plan and a project charter to actually getting the team to understand the work and execute on the work. As a junior project manager, you may not need to develop the project management plan alone, but you definitely need to know what it is. You see, every organization has its own curveball to their projects, So when you come into a firm, you have to learn their own system and their own approach, but there's a level of intellect that you need to have coming in. And this is the intellect, knowing a project management plan. How do I put it together? What is in the plan, right? So you have scope, budget, schedule, resources, communications. You even have a little plan for risk. Oh, think about weather delays, think about budget, right? These things, we blow them out wildly in the world of project management. So these are some ideas just to get you into the groove, right? The next thing that you do as a project manager coming into this world, you encourage, motivate, inspire the team. So, for example, how can I inspire my team when executing as a junior PM? Remember, I am just a project coordinator. For example, okay, so as a project coordinator, one of the things that you are going to do is be the Siri for the team. You're going to be the Siri, the Alexa. You're going to help them. You are going to create opportunities, not problems. You're going to help them know when things are going off. You're going to be their reminder. This says lead by example. Do you know that with just a positive mental attitude, in fact, it's not just, I should say, with a PMA, the great Zig Ziglar, he will say it's your attitude that determines your altitude. And I want to put it to you, your attitude determines the altitude of even people around you that you could influence. If you are like a dishwater doll individual that is not ready to inspire, motivate, and encourage, and you say, well, I guess it's the boss's job, I'm just going to be a negative Nancy. Well, good luck. I, I wish you all the best. You're not going to go very far. But if your attitude is one of positivity and you're just infectious. You see, this is what leadership is. It's having that infectious enthusiasm to affect those around you positively. Whether you are the janitor or whether you are the CEO, makes no difference. That's why leadership is all about influence. It's not about position. So you can lead by having a positive mental attitude. You can be a support system, like I was joking, be the Siri, be the Alexa, communicate the why, right? Just because you are a project coordinator doesn't mean you don't have deeper insights. Don't let the position define you. The position is just a way in, it doesn't have to keep you there. I remember when I got into a firm, my position defined a job spec, but I saw there was more and I saw what I could do. And I said to my boss, I can offer value. And I'm talking about Honeywell. I saw an opportunity to affect people that were way beyond me in the firm. So I told my boss, hey, I think I can coach and help and mentor people who are trying to get this exam done. And he said, okay. And that's how I ended up getting 50 of my colleagues, peers, subordinates, superiors. I got them certified. So your influence has nothing to do with the position alone. Position is the gateway, but you got to build on that, right? So sometimes you have insights, you have value. Don't hold back the value. Do it in a respectful manner. You don't be a know-it-all, right? But don't hold your greatness. Don't hold the value you have, because that value is going to help you climb higher. It's going to help them and it's going to help you. Celebrate wins, big and small. Acknowledge achievements publicly. You don't have to be the big kahuna to say, hey, a shout out to Maria for finalizing the design ahead of schedule. Just be you, right? Your greatness will shine if you're a positive mental attitude kind of a person. Number 5, foster collaboration. Number 6, seek feedback and show you care and learn with people. Stay positive under pressure. Empower the experts. Respect the experience and skills of your team member. Defer to others. Hey, Deidre, you're the expert on this. How do you suggest we tackle this? Recognize potential and encourage growth. This is another story of how you can harness the power of leadership. I was working on a project for this firm in the world of oil and gas, and I got to a brick wall and I couldn't move the ball any further. I, as a project management professional, I would have expected I had the answers. But when I didn't have the answers, knowing how leadership worked, I challenged one of my team members to take the ball from me and see how far she could go. Took the ball, found a solution. The solution did not come from me. And this illustrates that you need to recognize that there's potential in everyone. It's another trait of a great leader. So I know you might just be looking to get into project management, but you're also getting into leadership territory. So get ready to lead. It's all about leadership. So we've talked about the project charter, the project management plan. We've talked about executing with a positive mental attitude, right? And then you get into monitoring and controlling, where you're checking, you're inspecting. It's a culture. Do a Google search, do a chat GPT, teach me Kaizen, Kaizen, right? Have it teach you about Kaizen. Kaizen is about continuous improvement. Have that mindset to continuously improve. Okay. And lastly, in project management, we close out a project or phase in the project. So over the past few minutes, this is kind of like a trial by fire because I just dunked you straight into the world of project management. I know many of you have not been in this world before, but I am hoping that this quick course is going to help you. Let's jump back into the concept of process groups because there's still a lot more I have to share before I jump off the call. Okay, so hopefully I can take it up a notch and go even quicker. So, process groups, right? We've talked about initiating the project, planning the project, executing the project, monitoring and controlling, and closing the project. Those are the 5 process groups. I haven't taught you the knowledge areas. So, let's break this down further. Imagine the 5 process groups of initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling, and closing are a house. Inside the house is the value. You got the structure, but there's further value in the house. You know what's in the house? Within these process groups, you have different areas of knowledge. The first area of knowledge is integration, being able to coordinate effectively everything that's moving on the project. The second is to understand what needs to be done. That's scope. The third is schedule. Come on now, you know what schedules are. If you've been in any kind of school, elementary school, high school, you know about schedules. You know when the clock rings 10, you better be in that math class. When the clock rings 12, you better be in the English class. When it rings 2, you better be getting ready to pack your bags, depending on what school you're in. But schedule is all about the timeline. Schedule is like one of the easiest. And schedule, the reason why schedule excites me is this is how I broke into project management. I was able to learn a scheduling tool called Microsoft Project. And by this time, I was kind of almost like languishing, just waiting. It's like that hungry coyote that's in the shadows. The first thing that appears is going to chase it. The very first thing that came my way after learning scheduling was an opportunity to work in an engineering company to be a scheduler. I was ready. Are you ready? Do you know a scheduling tool? Can you use a scheduling tool? And this has nothing to do with, oh, I'm a PMP or I'm like, no, forget that stuff for now. That stuff will come later. But for me, that wasn't the first thing. The first thing that I did that got me inroads into this company where I then built my career from there, it was the ability to schedule with Microsoft Project. That was it. I put my resume out there within, I know it's going to shock you, but it took 9 months to get that gig. In 9 months, I got a gig for Microsoft Project, and it's probably the defining gig for my career because when I got into this firm as a scheduler, that's where I met my mentor, Mary Hirschner. And Mary said, Phil, you would make a good PMP. But it wasn't until I got into a firm that had a knowledgeable individual that could direct me that my career took off to the next level. So I'm encouraging you, put this on your to-do list. Learn Microsoft Project. Learn Microsoft Project. Do it. When you learn Microsoft Project, you are learning the flagship, the mothership You're learning the tool that has been around for eons, been around for longer than I have even been in project management. But when I got into the world of project management, early 2000s, I started learning Microsoft Project. And I learned so rapidly and I became so confident in Microsoft Project that I started building my own course material back in 2003, even before I became a PMP. I started teaching, training, coaching people in Microsoft Project. I developed DVDs. That was my thing on eBay. I would sell my Microsoft Project training. Maybe some of my students from way back are even watching now. I remember that guy. And at the time, I would just sell them for 49.99 a piece, and they would fly off the shelves because everyone needed Microsoft Project. This is early 2000s. Not a bad gig for someone without work for 9 months. You see, I was busy getting ready for the big opportunity. And when the opportunity came after botching that DHL interview, I got into this organization and that's how everything took off. If you do not know how to use a scheduling tool, I don't know whether you're a PMP, you're a PGMP, you're a CAPM, if you don't know Microsoft Project or Primavera, I feel sorry. And I want to advise you to amp up your game. How can you be a PM and you don't have a tool? It's often said only a poor workman blames their tools, but in this case, the workman don't even know the tool. You ain't even got no tools. You still using Excel? Are you kidding? And you a PMP? You cannot use Microsoft Project or Primavera. Don't give me excuses. Don't tell me, oh, I use Asana. Don't tell me, oh, Phil, I use ClickUp. Don't tell me, oh, Phil, I use Smartsheet. Good, but go back to the mothership. I'm challenging you. I'm trying to make you uncomfortable because with discomfort comes growth, my friends. So don't give me all that ClickUp, Asana, Monday.com stuff. With all due respect, those are the tools of today. I understand. But the reason why I'm asking you to learn Microsoft Project, if you are a PMP or a CAPM or a PGMP or PFMP, is this is the holy grail. So a lot of these other tools, let me go a little bit advanced. Is that okay? A lot of these other tools, they do not have a very good, clear path for Slack flow leads and lags, not to mention earned value management, not to mention CPI and SPI and the whole 9 yards. If you truly are a project manager and serious about your craft, I want to motivate you. I want to challenge you. Stop deferring to the tools that are cutting out a lot of our profession. Understanding Slack and float and leads and lags. Okay, I don't want to scare anyone. I'm going to stop that narrative. But you should learn Microsoft Project. You should learn if you're in the world of construction, Primavera doesn't hurt. I actually have a very good Primavera trainer. If you are interested in learning, I'll send him your way. But for those who are just getting into scheduling, learn Microsoft Project. Smartsheet is good. I use Smartsheet. I have videos on Smartsheet. All right. I have videos on ClickUp and Asana and stuff. And, all due respect, I'm happy that they're helping the community. But Microsoft Project is the one. Begin at Microsoft Project, dominate it, conquer it, and then move on. I think if you go to microsoftprojecttraining.com, I think we've got a website, microsoftprojecttraining.com. Then you can sign up and learn through my very rigorous curriculum. But that's a different story. Let's stay focused on this. So my newbies, the reason why I'm big on scheduling is it got me in the door. Can you tell how passionate I am about it? Because it got me in the door. Without Microsoft Project, where would I be? I'm scared to think where I would be without Microsoft Project. I can only tell you what has worked for me. This is my story. This ain't someone else's story. But when you are a proficient scheduler, the next step is to learn the tool that the organization uses. And the reason why I say Microsoft Project, if you can use Microsoft Project, everything else is like tiddlywinks. Oh, some of you don't know what tiddlywinks is. It's a very easy game. It's just fun game. So when you know Microsoft Project, everything else becomes gravy. All right. So scheduling, as you can tell, is big, big. Put it on your to-do list, learn it. Some of you might want to learn today. Go on YouTube. I think I have a 30-minute Microsoft Project Fast Track video on YouTube. 30 minutes. It's free. Start from there. Okay. So that's scheduling. All right. What else? You need to understand cost. Excel is going to be your friend. Quality management, like I said, Kaizen, resource management. You got to understand human, equipment, material resources. You need to have the business mindedness about you when it comes to resources. And then communications, procurement, stakeholder engagement, and risk. Those are the 10 areas of knowledge. Okay. I know some of you are like, Phil, it's going too fast. Bookmark the video. Come back to the video. Thank you, Deidre. I see your message. Deidre, thank you. Thank you very much. Like I said, Deidre is one of our PLI fellows, Project Leadership Institute, and she's here still learning, which is truly awesome. But for those of you who are like, well, this is a lot. Yeah. The biggest journey begins with a step. And here you are taking a step. So I applaud you. Don't get scared. Get decisive. Get eager. Get even hungrier, right? So this little model here, if you want to take a screenshot of it, I encourage you to take a screenshot and keep learning. I actually have a lot of videos on YouTube. If you haven't watched my YouTube videos on all of these topics, that just do a search. Praizion, that's the name of the company. Praizion integration, Praizion scope, Praizion. There's thousands of hours of video. No exaggeration. Thousands. I have so many videos that I actually have to Google my videos to find them. Isn't that crazy? I think we're going on 3,000 plus videos. And many of these videos, I'm talking about long videos. So if you haven't watched them, go on the Praizion channel and watch them, okay? But newbies to project management, these are some of the variables that we're dealing with. So in the very first slide, when I said, what is project management? It's a very long answer, isn't it? I'm still on slide one. I'm still on slide one. But let's pick up the pace a little bit. Okay. As I said, early in my career, I did not understand what project management was. But learning Microsoft Project revealed that project management is about leading the team and supporting smarter people through a schedule towards shared goals. So you might feel, oh, I feel I'm not good enough in project management. Look, you are going to get the opportunity. Listen to me, my friends. Listen. Let me give you some hope. Let me speak from experience. I know I may not look very old, but I've been around for a minute. You are going to get an opportunity. Look into my eyes. You know, these are just to help the lights. But I want to tell you, you are going to get an opportunity. When you get the opportunity, are you going to be ready like your buddy Phil was? Or are you going to be like, oh, where are those books Phil talked about? Where's that video? Is that going to be you? Don't let that be you. I need you to be ready. When opportunity knocks, as my mentor John Maxwell would say, it is too late to prepare. Now is the time to prepare. You will get the opportunity. Are you going to blow it or are you going to bring it? You will get the opportunity. I want to be positive and tell you the opportunity will come. But some people aren't ready for the opportunity. And they're like, wow, I don't think I can. I got to let it go. Don't let the opportunity go. I want to give you some hope. Some of you in 2025, you're looking to amp up your game. You're looking to amp up your game. If you're like me, let's be honest, we're humans. We need money to survive. Some of you are in a dire situation where you got family and you need money to support your family. Hello? You're a human and you want to take it to the next level. You are not going to get to the next level. Due respect to the Walmarts of this world. But you need to look beyond just being behind a till. Look, I'm speaking from experience. I needed to look beyond being in the warehouse I could have stayed at the warehouse. Ain't nothing wrong. Someone's got to work the warehouse. But is that where you want to be for the rest of your life? Is that some people have resigned to be at the warehouse. Some people have resigned to be at the till. And there's nothing wrong with being in the warehouse or at the till for a period and get your act together and move on and let someone else replace you. Except you really want to be in the warehouse or at the till. Someone will say, Phil, you're being unkind. I'm not being unkind. Some people want to be at the till. Is that you? Okay. There's nothing I can do to help you. But if you want to get from beyond the warehouse like I did, you got to be savage. You got to be aggressive. You got to be an assassin of doubt. Some of you have doubt and you ain't killing the doubt. Well, I guess I've said what I needed to say. You're either going to be ready for the opportunity or not. So I need you, my friends, to learn, to be ready when the opportunity comes. I need you to understand that it's not about being smart. It's about people needing someone. Oh, if we can just get someone into this position. Oh, they're just not good enough. And then you walk in the door and you're in the right place at the right time and they give you the gig. That's what happened to me. They needed someone to man Microsoft project. And I was the only person available who had the chops, who had the lingo. Sometimes all you need is the lingo. That's all you need. I remember another interview later on in my career. I went to the interview and I'm flipping the lingo left and right. Bear in mind, I'm not a PMP at this time, but I'm starting my journey as a PMP and I've got such great command over the language. Salary level goes up 100%, 120, 130, 150, 180, 200. By the time I was done after my PMP, my salary level had gone up 300%. Why? You got to understand the language. You got to speak the language. You got to speak the lingo. You got to have the positive mental attitude. When you go into the interview, you got to have the right body language. You got to show that you can do it. I've been to a few poor interviews in my lifetime. Another poor interview I went for was when the interviewer said, "You don't look like you can handle a customer." They'll spit you out of their mouth quicker than you could even believe it. I don't think you can do this job. This job was at the Princess, the resort in Arizona. You got to understand, I was looking for a way out. What did I say? You got a family to feed. You're looking for a way out. And I said, you know what? DHL didn't work out. Let me try my hand as a sound engineer because, I've been in the world of music as a producer. I tried that. And the interviewer said, you don't strike me as someone who is convincing enough. Our customers spit you out of their mouth. Then he asked me, do you know about WebEx? Mind you, this was 2003. WebEx? I was like a deer in the headlights. The opportunity came and I did nothing with it. So that was another botched opportunity. You get what I'm saying, my friends? Sometimes all it takes is for you to be the person they're looking for a role to fill. Sometimes it's just you against yourself. And if you cannot win, there ain't going to be no opportunity. That's it. It's going to go away. All right, let me move on. Section 2, going into the tools that transform careers. Like I said, this is what I've already spoken about. Just reminding you, scheduling tools are important. I am very passionate about Microsoft Project. Smartsheet, Asana, those are good, but I would rather you learned Microsoft Project first. Knowing the right tools can open doors. I shared my story with you, right? Microsoft Project landed me my first major project management gig. And when I say project management, I mean raw project management, managing programs of lines and lines of scheduling, thousands of lines. Microsoft Project schedules that will make you lose weight when you see them. But I was hungry, as the great Les Brown says. I was hungry. I wanted change. So when the interviewer said, "Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you?" Yes, yes. Can you fly a man to the moon? Yes. I'll fly a man to the moon and back. What Elon said he could do to Mars, I'll do it. I was that hungry, my friends. Hungry as can be. So when the opportunity came, I delivered. I delivered. I said yes. And you know what? I put myself in an uncomfortable situation and I learned. And I learned, and a huge shout out to Mary, my mentor, because she kept teaching me, showing me the ropes. And because of Mary Hirschner, I'm where I am today. Because she showed me, Phil, this is all good, but I think you'll make a good PMP. Took the PMP exam, the rest is history. We'll talk about that later on. All right, my friend from Facebook. Thank you very much for coming on. Awesome, awesome, awesome to see you. I want to thank you for always showing up on the Facebook page. And those of you watching on Instagram, thank you for showing up on Instagram as well. Always a pleasure to see all of you. Absolutely. If you got any questions, by the way, feel free to chat them in. I'm taking questions, as I go through this curriculum. So the truth about Microsoft Project, a single tool can set you apart and it can demonstrate immediate value. Okay, moving on to section 3, certification and growth. Building credibility and expertise through certifications. Now, before you get all mad and jump off the call, because I know some of you, you're like, Phil, are you crazy? That's $675. I ain't got that money to do a certification. Wait. Back up. I want you to listen to what I have to say. I am not asking you to take the PMP exam. No, because I know you're thinking that's what I'm going to do. Oh, he may want to. No, it's not PMP. No, no. You're saying, okay, Phil, but is it CAPM? No. I want you to, first of all, take one of the most inexpensive, listen to what I'm saying, inexpensive value for money training that will give you a micro certificate of completion. That's all. For under $100. But when you take that course and you have a micro certification that offers knowledge, you will be better empowered than I was. I don't want you to go for an interview like I did at DHL and I just botched it and it was horrible. I still have shivers. The other day, I was speaking to a family member and I said, remember that interview that I went for at DHL? And guess what? Hey, I found Jerry's card. Jerry was the interviewer from hell. You talk about an interviewer that will ask you every question under the sun, those that make sense and those that you ain't even heard of. And oh my goodness, I cannot believe this is Jerry's card. So I immediately go on LinkedIn and my goodness, talk about reliving a nightmare. And I thought, well, Jerry would not believe I am now a PMP and Prince 2. But my interview with Jerry was from hell. But you know what it did? It encouraged me. It showed me I know nothing. And it's a good place to be. It's a good place to be. It was like being bathed with an awareness that I needed. I needed the awareness that I did not know as much as I thought I did about project management. So when I talk about certification and growth, I'm not about spending hundreds and thousands of dollars. I know many of us don't have that kind of money. But the opportunity that I want to share with you is on the 4th of January, 2025. It is a micro certification, 4 hours long, but I'm telling you, you are going to learn more than you would learn in a lot of PMP, CAP, and prep courses. Why is that? Because we're going to be teaching you about the pragmatism that you need to jumpstart your career. Leadership, project management, Agile, AI. We are going to equip you so that you can bring home the bacon. In fact, you see the ticker tape below? That is a reminder that you need to, especially those of you who are looking to break in because I've been there just like you. And it's a very lonely place to be, not knowing how to break in. But we've got you covered. Okay. When you do this part, you then have the leverage to go to interviews and speak sensibly. Okay. So I want you to begin your journey. If you're new to project management, you've never been for training, or you've been for training, you don't have the confidence, and you're like, I can't even go for an interview. Hey, 360.pmradio.org is your ticket to going from the warehouse, like I did, to the penthouse. Why? Because you're going to learn. You are also going to get a certificate that says you've been through this training. And then on top of that, you are going to get lifetime access to my Art of Project Management course, which is a 6-hour program. All of that under $100. But you need to strike now while the iron is hot. Go to 360.pmradio.org and let's begin the journey of certification and growth. All right. Next, building the right mindset. The foundation of success in project management begins with the right mindset. Core ingredient for your success, my friends, is determination. Success starts with a mental shift. Stay determined and adaptable. Say yes to opportunities. Just say yes quicker than a traffic light could change from yellow to green. Yes, 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 yes. Your answer always needs to be, can you do it? Yes. I go figure it out. One of my mentors in the world of leadership at the John Maxwell team at the time, Paul Manelli, I love what he would say. He'll say, jump from the ledge and grow your wings on the way down. And Paul was a poster child for that. Jump from the ledge, grow your wings, figure it out after. Your immediate answer needs to be yes. Stop doubting yourself. A lot of you don't, you can't even trust yourself. See, don't be like that. Some people are like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. What's wrong with you? Yes. Have a can-do attitude. The great Zig Ziglar, remember what he said? It's your attitude that determines your altitude, not your aptitude. You can have someone who knows all the books in the world and you ask them, do you think you can do that? But because of self-limiting beliefs, oh, I don't know if I can do it. I'm scared. Come on now. You can do it. Where there's life, there's hope. Determine you're going to figure it out. Human beings are resilient. You can do it. If you've been on the call this long and you're listening to everything I've had to say, newsflash, you're resilient. You can do it. If you can go through 30 minutes with me, I know you're resilient. A relentless hunger for growth will set you apart, my friends. So I don't want you to wander around aimlessly. I want you to connect with me at 360.pmradio.org. Okay? I want you to connect with like minds, as you will be able to. Deidre is on the call. She'll likely be there on the 4th. My buddy Ed, my buddy Daryl, they're going to be on the call. And others who I have mentored, trained, and coached. Join a winning team that will give you the support you need. All right. Learn from those who've walked the path before. All right. So I'm inviting you again. You see the ticker tape below, 360.pmradio.org, the 4th of January, 2025, brand new year. Will you show up for your PM success, for your PM career? Maybe you've been hearing about this Agile thing. Will you show up to learn from my buddy Roy more about the world of Agile and how you can rapidly assimilate the understanding? You see, when I go to colleges and organizations and I train them on the world of Agile, they are so hungry and excited and they put it into action. You see, you don't even need to be a newbie to benefit from this conference. Maybe you are a PM who's been in the world of predictive just like I was. And when it came to Agile, totally inept, hopeless I was, until my buddy Roy began showing me how to pragmatize the world of Agile. You need to be on that call. Maybe you're PMP, maybe you're CAPM, been in the world of project management, but you don't have the confidence. You need to be there. You need to join us. All right. So the guidance and the mentoring you will get. Number 5, key takeaways and conclusion. I'm going to land this ship very shortly. Mindset is everything. Stay determined and embrace lifelong learning. I don't want to hear, I cannot do it. I don't know how to do it. Do what my buddy Paul said, jump off the ledge, grow your wings on the way down. Number 2, tools matter. Don't give me that same old boring narrative. Well, I use ClickUp, I use Asana, I use Smartsheet. I'm challenging you. Especially those of you who are certified. Learn Microsoft Project. Stop giving me excuses. I'm not interested in anything else. MS Project. If you've been following me for a while, I know there are thousands of you. Yeah, I'm telling you, go learn Microsoft Project. Seriously, you're still managing projects with a measly, puny little spreadsheet? I can understand the argument, like, well, Phil, it's not about the tools. Now you don't preach to the choir. Come on now. I know that. I just gave you an example of my buddy Paul. Paul, he ran millions of dollars of project without Microsoft Project. But if you are a PMP, a CAPM, PFMP, PGMP, and you cannot use that, I'm sorry. What have you been doing? So you've been certified for 10 years, and you never saw it to use Microsoft Project? Wow. Go learn Microsoft Project. It's all in love, my friends. And there's no hate. It's all out of love. I'm trying to help someone. I got 6 figures. Hey, not 80,000, not 90,000, not 100,000, not 110, 100 in the 120s. That was my first big jump. And then it kept going up and up and up because I was able to solve bigger problems. But I was amazed at how Microsoft Project got me a 6-figure paying job. Actually, it was 150. What am I talking about? 150. Free money because you knew Microsoft Project. And I'm talking about 15 years ago. I'm not talking about today's money. So imagine what you could do if you are a master, world-class scheduler for top corporations. Let's not go there. We're now talking money. Let's move on. Your next steps. Take the first step today. Choose one action to implement from this session. It's either you're going to change your mindset rapidly, or you're going to immediately go on my MicrosoftProjectTraining.com and learn Microsoft Project. Or you're like, Phil, I'm so far behind. I need to come for PM360. Hey, PM360, just go to the link, 360.pmradio.org. In fact, I'm going to put the link in the chat to help someone. See, the honest truth, my friends, the past decade has been very, 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 very good. It has been so rewarding for me that I want to pay it forward. That's why I'm here today. My 2025 is going to start off with me adding value. And I know some people are like, well, it's just the 4th of January. Surely the festivities haven't ended. Festivities are continuing in this workshop. We're going to celebrate 2025, but we're going to motivate and inspire and encourage each other, whether we're PMPs, whether we're CAPMs, whether we're PFMPs, and we're going to motivate ourselves to kill it. Because we got to kill the mediocrity first, and then we got to kill the game. You know what I mean by kill the game? You got to eat what you kill. Well, we're going to kill the game and we're going to eat it. We're going to have a big old feast. And that needs to be your mindset for 2025. Stop taking prisoners. I need you to amp up the game and be wild and aggressive and hungry. How long do you want to be behind the till for? Hey, how long do you want to be in the basement, in the warehouse? Those of you just come in, I told my story how I went from the warehouse to the penthouse. But it was lesson number 1. Be hungry, be aggressive, hungry, aggressive, chase the opportunity, and live. When you go for the interview, breathe. They are watching you. Your body language, your facial expressions, your tone of voice. the funny thing, when this lady was interviewing me, she's like, "You're not like the others. Just say my name is and I'm." She said, "You're not like those people. Those are the people I've been interviewing all week. I'm going to give you the best job available." And her name is Karen. And wherever she is, I know Karens usually have a bad connotation because of the name, but this Karen was different. She saw the greatness in me, but I was ready. And as Les Brown says, I was hungry. I was ready to bring it. And the moment they let me in, that was it. The moment I got into Citigroup, my world began to change. But it started off with a PMA. I didn't go to that interview deflated and, "Oh, I'm just here to apply for a job. What do you have?" No, I was alert. I was active. I was alive. I was excited. And I want to encourage you to be the same. Okay? Thank you, my friend. One of our friends chatted in. Wild, aggressive, and ready to attack my career. That's it. You got to be in alpha mode. That's it. You got the memo, my friend. You got to be in alpha mode. I encourage everyone who is ready to get into that alpha mode, that Zen mode. Let's have a lovely Christmas celebration and New Year, but let's not get so carried away with the festivities that we lose sight of the target to kill the game, target to get to that next level, my friend. You can get to the next level. There's a seat for you at the table. The question is, will you take the seat or will you keep shooting yourself in the foot? Okay? The next steps, my friends, next steps. Practical action to begin your journey in project management. I want you to stay determined, stay curious, be open to learning, embrace opportunities, even if you're unsure about the outcome. Some people, they're so scared, they let the opportunity go. I'm like, my goodness, why did you do that? Well, I wasn't ready. It couldn't have cost you anything to at least try. A growth mindset is the foundation of project management. I need you, those are my PMPs, those of you who are certified already, choose a scheduling or collaboration tool to master. If you're done with Microsoft Project, go for Smartsheet. If you're done with Smartsheet, look for something else, ClickUp. It's also good for your PDUs, remember? So go to MicrosoftProjectTraining.com if you're trying to learn Microsoft Project. Those of you who are certified, that is, as PMPs and CAPMs, build personal schedules. Scheduling is the holy grail for me. Like I said, community guidance and acceptance, a community that's not going to ask questions, that's going to welcome you with open arms. You're going to have mentorship, you're going to have growth, you're going to be able to get to higher levels working with my buddy Roy and I than working alone. And I did promise I was going to bring Roy on the call, right? The thing is, you probably want to jump off soon, but I am going to put Roy. All of Roy's influence, I've written additional books on Scrum leadership, which Roy helped me train. So without much ado, I want you to welcome my coach, I call him my Agile genie in a bottle, Roy Schilling.
I don't know how to follow all that, but thank you, Phil. I appreciate that. Right.
I'll step out of your way for a few seconds.
Yeah, you got it. All right. Jump in.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Okay. Again, welcome, everybody. I love this group. This is such an enthusiastic group. It makes the job of talking through these topics so much easier because you react, you're actually asking questions, you're engaged, and that makes all the difference. If you don't engage, you're not going to learn, right? And I don't enjoy it. So let's enjoy this together, right? All right, so let's talk about some of the core concepts. Leadership has changed substantially over the course of the past 10, 20, 30 years. It's a completely different world than it used to be. And I think it's important to recognize that so many things have changed in business that you have to change leadership style. The technology moves a lot faster. The world moves faster. Social interactions, social media, the world is smaller in a way. And you can't just do work like that we used to do years and years and years ago. I mean, we all remember, and we probably still have organizations that are like this, where you're working in an organization and it's a very top-down, hierarchical. The boss says do something, so you do it, right? Well, that's fine if you want compliance. If you want to tell people what to do, you're going to get compliance. They will do what you tell them to do, and you are not going to get any more than that, are you? Right? Now, today, you need a lot more than just compliance. You need more than people just doing what they're told to do. You need people to think. And they're not going to think if you're telling them what to do because they've got someone else to think for them. And the interesting thing about that is if you build that environment where you tell people what to do, they become used to it. They almost don't like thinking for themselves anymore. They'll sit there and wait for someone to tell them what to do and do nothing or get distracted, or they're on social media or whatever it is when they should be producing value for their customers. But they won't because they're not told to do something. Now, that doesn't work anymore, right? It just doesn't work. That model is gone. It should not be anywhere anymore, right? And unfortunately, it still exists. So what we're really looking for, what we really see in that kind of model is more management than leadership. Management is about telling people what to do, about directing, that sort of thing. And let's be honest about that. Sometimes management is valuable. When people don't know what to do, sometimes they need to be told what to do. And that's okay, right? We need management and leadership. But let's not confuse the two. They're very, very different things. Management is good when people don't understand, when they don't know what they're doing, when they're confused, when they're afraid. Manage, right? Guide them, tell them what to do. That's okay. With the intent of getting away from that as quickly as possible. So you move into more of a leadership style. Now, leadership is very different than management. Leadership is not about telling people what to do. It's more about asking them. It's about giving clarity, giving that vision, that direction. Here's where we want to go. This is why we want to go this direction. And then finding out the best way to do it. Let's face the reality. When you're in an organization, if you're a leader, you're supposed to be hiring people smarter than yourself. You're supposed to be hiring people with great skill sets that are enthusiastic, that love doing what they do, right? If that's what you're supposed to be hiring. Now, if you hire those kinds of people and then you tell them what to do, what have you just done? You've just destroyed all of that enthusiasm. You've destroyed all that creativity. So we need to build that environment where leaders give the space for people to challenge, to ask questions, to come up with their own ideas, make their own decisions. That's what great leaders do. It's not about telling people what to do. It's about asking them the right way to do it, right? And that's huge, right? Now, there's I want to draw attention to something that I've a model that I've started using, and this is kind of a good theme to think about when we're thinking about leadership in a more modern world, right? And it's actually I teach a class called Modern Leadership, right? And it's more about how to be a leader in more of an agile environment, right? And then again, not agility. That's what we're trying to get to, is that mindset of agility. There's a model that I like to use. It's kind of a metaphor. It's a really simple one. It's called tight, loose, tight, right? And the basic idea with tight, loose, tight is that you're tight on your vision, on your clarity, on your goals. You're loose on execution. And this is where we give people that psychological safety to make their own decisions, to figure out the best way to do it. And then you're tight on monitoring and expectation of results, right? So tight on clarity, tight on results, loose on how we get there. And this gives people that creative freedom to decide the best way to go. Okay. Now, there's lots of different things to think about when you're a leader in these kind of spaces. Let's back up a little bit and let's talk about something called Theory X and Theory Y. All right, Theory X is the more traditional leadership style. It's more of a management style, and that is a basic assumption that people don't want to do their jobs. That if you leave them alone, they'll just wander off into the woods and just not pay attention and not do their jobs. Right? That's what we tend to think in Theory X. So, and maybe sometimes that happens, right? We do need to recognize that not everyone behaves in a way that we want them to, right? So that's Theory X. Theory X assumes people aren't going to behave correctly. Theory Y is much more about giving people the space to do their job, right? Assuming that people want to do their jobs. They want to produce value. They want to contribute to their organization. And then as a leader, you need to give them the space to be able to do that. Right. And that's an important aspect. So we want to be Theory Y, right? Theory X is kind of dying out, fortunately, and Theory Y is where we want to get to. But I'm sure in your careers, you can think of a lot of Theory X managers. right? A lot of people, especially larger organizations, they're so hierarchical. You don't disagree with your leader, with your manager. You do with what they're you do what they tell you. Now let's talk about some of the reasons that this theory X kind of exists. There's traditional training that a lot of managers have gone through, and that traditional training is much more about telling people what to do. And let's talk about in relation to project management. Relationship to project management. Think about traditional project management. It's about control. Traditional project management is controlling budget, to controlling scope, to controlling schedule. Now, that's not a bad thing for traditional management, but when you're also applying it to the people, that's not a good thing, right? Traditional project management is about control. And especially traditional project management was invented to control those kinds of projects that have physical things like, equipment and machinery and materials that are for building, for construction, things like that. That's what traditional waterfall was built for, controlling those kinds of things. Well, in a modern world, we're dealing more with knowledge work, right? And knowledge work, it's a lot harder to control that. In fact, you really can't control it, right? It's very, very difficult to do that. You can't control knowledge work. So that's a different model. Now, instead of being about control, we really need to be more about flexibility, about giving people space to invent, to be creative, to be innovative, right? And that's the space that we want to give. So move over into that other space, give people the space. Now, there's some things that are required, right, in order to make this work. If you can't just put a bunch of people in a room and say, go do stuff, right? That's not going to work, right? So you need some things. And one of the most important things that you need to give in that space is clarity. That's number one. You got to give clarity. So in order for people to know what they're building, to know where they're going, you need to give them clarity on the goal. Define those goals, define the vision. Where are we going? Why are we going there? Set that clarity, and then people will know what kinds of decisions to make. You give them the scope of what we're trying to accomplish, and people will be able to give good decisions, knowing that they've got the clarity of the vision, right? That's incredibly important. Now, having clarity is good, right? Got to have that clarity. But the second part of this is that you also need the technical skills in order to accomplish the goal. So now that sounds like a simple statement. You need the technical skills, but it's a little more complicated than that. Yes, you need the technical skills. And if you don't have the technical skills, then you need to go get them. So one of your jobs as a leader is to make sure that you have an environment where people are capable of getting the skills necessary to be able to do those jobs. You cannot build this kind of a utopian environment if you are not unwilling to train people, if you're unwilling to give them the time and the space to learn new things. And that's part of this also, right? Traditional project management, not just project management, traditional management in general, it is maximizing that person's work, right? Maximizing how many things they're producing, keeping them busy at all times. Their focus is in staying busy. And what we want to do is shift to a focus of delivering value. So there you can see where the traditional concepts are really at odds with a lot of these things that we're talking about. Delivering value, space to learn, psychological safety. If you're following a traditional approach, it really flies in the face of some of the things that we're trying to accomplish in this new space, right? So giving your team the ability to learn new things, giving your team the ability to experiment and to fail, that psychological safety is incredibly important. Your team needs to learn, and they learn by failing, right? And that's an important thing to think about, right? We don't like that word failing, right? No one likes to fail. But guess what? You're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. Everything that we're doing, it's you have a hypothesis. It's an experiment. You're going to try something and you may be wrong. Well, that's okay, right? Now, I want you to think back in your history and your careers. How many times have you seen managers or leaders give you this space to fail? It doesn't happen a lot, unfortunately. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Failing forward. It's the growth mindset. Exactly. Growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Growth mindset is I can accomplish anything. Fixed mindset is that doesn't work here. You know how many? So I just want to tell a quick story here. As an Agile coach, there are certain statements that you hear over and over and over again. One of the statements that I hear all the time is, we're different. That can't work here. It's crazy, right? It's just absolutely crazy. Yes, it can. I've got 22 years of experience that says, yes, we can do this in any environment, but you got to think differently. You got to think in a different way. You've got to give your team more space. You've got to give people the ability to learn. And if you don't, you're not going to be able to do it there, right? It's not the process, and it's not the mindset or the theory that doesn't work. It's you, right? That's what's not working. Okay. All right. So now we just talked about the technical skills. Now, getting those technical skills again requires leadership support to make sure that they have space to learn, to go get the skills, the time to absorb that information, which means not keeping people at full capacity, giving them slack time. In traditional project management, often slack time is not good, right? But we all know the reality. We need slack time. Slack time is a beneficial thing. Give us a little space so to absorb some of those things that we have to learn, right? And the variability in work. So we need slack time. Now, there's one other aspect that's also important, right? So we talked about the clarity. That's all. Again, remember, that's the tight part. Tight on clarity. The technical skills, the ability to be able to learn new things and absorb those things and try new things. That's obviously important. The other one that's critically important, and this is more of a team thing, and that is transparency. So let's face the reality, leaders have a job to do, right? They need information, they need data, they need lots of good stuff so that they can do their jobs. And part of that job is to protect the team, right? So if they have the information that they need to do those jobs at a moment's notice, then they don't have to bother the team. They can do a better job protecting them. So leaders have something that they need in return for that clarity, in return for that psychological safety, and that's transparency, right? They have to know what's going on. So there is an absolute responsibility on the team that they have to be transparent about what's going on, right? So that means anything that's happening, good, bad, really bad, whatever it is, they have to be open about it. They have to be honest about it. They have to raise their hand and say, I've got a problem. I need help. Be okay with escalating at the appropriate time, right? We're not escalating everything, but don't be afraid of escalating. Don't be afraid of saying you've got a problem. Now, let's put that in context for a minute. So those three things, we've got clarity, we've got the psychological safety to learn and do new things and try new things, and the transparency of what we're doing. Again, tight, loose, tight model, tight on clarity, loose on implementation, and tight on the results. We need to see those results. Just take a moment and reflect on what do you think is necessary to create an environment where that's possible. And think about your leaders and leaders that you've worked with. Maybe you've experienced that kind of an environment before. Hopefully you have, right? Because I can tell you it's a lot more fun than that other environment, right? Making decisions for yourselves is a lot better, right? It's a lot more enjoyable. But think of the environment and what it takes to create that. It's not easy. Now think about the organizational challenges that are going to get in your way in creating that environment. Think about things like, often senior leadership, they want to know every minute that someone's working. They want to know exactly what's going on. They want to know how come this person estimated it was going to be 3 days and it took 5. All of these things are going to be in contrast to creating this environment. And this is one of the biggest challenges that we have in doing transformational work. The organizational behavior, the organizational scarring that's occurred over the years prevents leadership from allowing the teams to do their jobs, right? They can't get out of the way because we have all of these policies that stop us, right? And that means that this environment, it's easy to talk about these things and it feels really good that we have these, emotionally aware, emotionally intelligent, psychologically safe kind of concepts, but implementing them is really, really hard. It is incredibly difficult. It is the single biggest thing that stops transformations from happening. It's not about process. The processes are easy. It's not even really about the people, especially the teams. It's not about them. They're not the ones causing the problem, usually anyway. It's usually our senior leaders. It's about our policies. It's the way that we're set up our organization to be structured and rigid and not allowing these things to happen. It's like, it's okay. You go ahead and do what you want at the team level, but we still want our TPS reports, right? We still want these strict, results coming out. It doesn't work. Right. So this is not just a leadership change, it's an organizational change. Now let's bring this back to project managers for a moment. When you are a project manager, traditional view was you are managing projects. You're, all those things that we talked about earlier, you're doing project management work. Well, that's changed now too. Project managers are leaders. They are considered leaders. So you are not just managing a project in this space. You are also leading organizational change. You're evangelizing. You are marketing your successes, marketing the transformational things that are happening. You're more than just a project manager. And if you don't accept those responsibilities, you'll do okay. You'll bring projects in. Great, good for you. But where are you going with that? Where's your growth? Right? You need to be viewed as the leader in that space and not just someone that's going to get projects done. Right? I want to pause on that for a moment, give people time to reflect. And Phil, is there anything that you would like to add at this point?
I'm just soaking it all in, Roy. I've missed my daily Roy dose for a while, so I'm just soaking
We
it
haven't
all
done this
in.
in too long. We need to do this more often, right?
We need to, absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Let's ask the
Awesome.
people, the good people, have you got any questions for Roy? Because now would be a brilliant time to ask your agile related questions. I know some of you have done, we got some people here like Emmy, I know, Ed, they've done the ICC, that whole
The
suite.
ICF or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. So
Awesome.
I'm guessing you might have questions. Any questions, my friends? Okay, Roy, let's just keep plowing.
Let's continue. Okay, awesome. So now let's think about this holistically for a moment. So we have teams that we want to be transparent. We want to build a psychologically safe space for those teams. We want leaders that enable that, and they can give a clear vision, tell the story of what it is that we're building and what we're trying to accomplish. That's the environment that we want to create. And again, we've got all these challenges that might be getting in our way, right? So we've got to build that space so our leaders can actually do their jobs. And there's lots of things that are preventing them. Let's talk about some simple things. Let's talk about performance management. And that's a big one. It might sound strange, right? Performance management is supposed to be encouraging people to do their jobs, right? Encouraging people to do things the right way. Well, unfortunately, our performance management techniques are often very traditional ways of measuring performance. They're more measuring about how many things you've produced, your capacity. Are you at 100% capacity? How many hours do you work? Do you know how much that matters? Nothing. It's useless, right? How many things you're, I could not care less. I could produce 100 things that don't do anything for my customers. So what have I actually done? What value am I as an individual contributor actually contributing? If I'm not producing value, I don't care how many hours you're working, it doesn't matter, right? This goes back to that conversation we had earlier about output versus outcome, right? It's the outcomes that we're trying to achieve. And every individual should be responsible for outcomes that they can control, right? We don't want to make, someone responsible for increasing revenue when they have no control over it. That's not the kind of outcome I'm looking for. They should have control over the outcomes that they can actually do something about, right? They can contribute. Now, output is important. We mentioned that a little bit earlier also. The number of things you produce, it is important. But again, it's only important if those things you're producing are contributing to the value. That's what we're going to be looking for, right? So performance management is a challenge, right? We got to measure people in a different way. We have to measure people more on their contribution rather than how many hours they've worked, right? So a lot of these traditional concepts are ingrained in organizations, especially larger ones. They're ingrained in these organizations and they're incredibly difficult for us to change. Okay. So again, I want to bring it back to project managers. You're on the front line. You're in the middle of all this. You're talking with stakeholders. You're talking with teams. You are a great conduit for those kinds of conversations to help our stakeholders start to understand the challenges that we are putting in front of the teams.
Great stuff from my buddy Roy there. Let's advance a little bit ahead and then we could come back. But I want to address a question that we got from one of our listeners right now from T1000. Let's bring the question up on the screen. And the question is, I've been a PM for about 6 years. I have PMP and ACP. What should I try next? Brilliant, brilliant. So, my mentor, John Maxwell, we call him America's leadership guru. I've learned a lot from him, T1000. I've learned a lot. One of the things I've learned from John is people don't care how much you know, except they know how much you care. What does that mean? The certifications are great, but they don't count. You know what counts? Adding value to people. How do you add value? You go into an organization, you go in there with an intent to be the best version of yourself. And you are killing the game, not in PMP, not in ACP, but in value adding. You see, this is the dilemma about being PMP certified. In fact, very recently, I wrote a couple of books that I made available for free to the project management community. And one of the books I wrote is called The PMP Trap. I want to encourage you to listen to it. The PMP Trap is all about being trapped in the closet of PMP and not being able to come out. In order to come out of that PMP, ACP closet, and I've got both certifications and they're great. And, I don't begrudge the syllabus or anything, but being certified is the beginning. It is in no way the end, which you've obviously realized. So the answer would not be to pursue additional certifications. The answer would be for you to show insane amounts of value, massive value, tangible and intangible, to the organizations you're in. And this is a very good one for you to mull over because everyone's organization and everyone's situation is different. Let me give you an example. So I had gotten certified. I was a PMP. I was now at Honeywell. My job, I was enjoying it. I was living the life. 6 figures, earned value management, one of my favorite topics. But it wasn't enough. You know why? Because like you, I was like, what next? And I've got this radar that's always going, what next? What next? And the moment I lock in, I'm going to blow something up. And what I locked into was my colleagues spending thousands and thousands of dollars of Honeywell's money trying to get certified. And, this was very big in the early 2000s, 2006. In fact, one of the things management said is if you don't get certified, no senior project manager role for you. So we had a lot of my colleagues, superiors, subordinates, peers trying to get certified. And I realized there was a need. So what did I do? I asked my boss, can I help these people? How are you going to help them, Phil? Well, if I had some kind of forum to coach and train and mentor them, mind you, not my job. It wasn't my job, but I wanted to add value. See, John Maxwell, he taught us, he came to speak to us at the Project Leadership Institute some years ago when we first started. And what we learned from John is in order to be a success in life, there are 3 things you need to do, 3 things you need to be aware of. Number 1, know your purpose in life. What is your purpose in life? What are you about? What is your definite chief aim at a life level? In other words, why are you here on this planet? You got to define that for yourself. That's number 1. Number 2, you got to grow to your maximum potential. And believe me, growing to your maximum potential is not about acquiring more certifications. How do I know this? Because I have OPM3, PMP, RMP, CAPM, SP, PSM, PSPO, CSM, ACP. I could go on ITIL. I could keep alphabets. It ain't about that. It's about knowing your purpose in life, growing to your maximum potential. How do you grow? Be a river, not a reservoir. Give. That's number 3. Growing, right, has to do with sowing. If you are not sowing, you ain't growing. And if you ain't growing, you ain't knowing. So I distill this down into a very simple formula. I call it the success formula. And this is from John Maxwell, and I rebuttal it as the success formula. It's KGS, knowing your purpose in life. Knowing your purpose as a PMP, as an ACP. It's not about the certification. That is a vehicle, right, to wherever you need to go. But you got to know your purpose. What is your definite chief aim, project manager? What do you want to see happen as a result of your PMP or ACP or PGMP or PFMP? Because all those certifications, they don't mean diddly squat in the real world if you can't make stuff happen. So you got to be able to make stuff happen. So you got to know why you're there. You got to grow. And part of growth is the pragmatism. It's not enough to say, well, I guess I'm a PMP. There's my badge. Yes, I have the badge too. But it ain't about the badge. It's about the pragmatism. So you got to know, grow, sow. So if I were you, any PMP listening to the sound of my voice, what have you done for others with your PMP lately? Well, let's start off by sharing this video, PMPs. But I want to challenge you further. Watch this. Watch this. Are you a river? How can you be a river? Who are you mentoring? Let me look eyeball to eyeball. Who are you mentoring? Who are you coaching? Who are you adding value to? And if the answer is crickets, I ain't hear nothing. That's what we need to do next. I want to challenge you. Find a mentee, one mentee. Stick with the mentee and add value to them 1 hour every month. And do that for a year and come back and tell me if you don't see an insane amount of value, not to them, that's a given to them, but to you. Come back and tell me if you don't see a change. So I encourage you, if you are a PMP, an ACP, whatever certification you have, be a river. Know your purpose in life, grow to your maximum potential, and sow seeds. Part of growth, watch this, certification is the beginning, but it's not the end. Some of you are certified, but you're not pragmatized. You're not practicalizing it. You learned about all this stuff for PMP and you ain't using it. And then you come back to me and say, Phil, I got PMP, but my company, they don't like it. They're not using PMP. I'm like, well, you got to build your own bridge. It's like someone saying, well, you're not allowed to use project management in your own personal projects. What? So I want to challenge you. Everything you've learned, I need you to apply it. Scope management. Have you built a requirements traceability matrix and used it ever? Have you developed a project scope statement and gone through the mental exercises with your team? Have you built a WBS? And I'm not talking about a crummy little one of 2 levels. How about 3 levels? How about 4? How about 5? How about 7 levels for that multi-million-dollar project that you've been using Excel? I'm not talking to my friend T1000 alone. I'm talking to all of you. You got to pragmatize it, my friends. Okay? So take what you know, share what you know, apply. Oh my goodness. When you apply what you know, you go from being at the bachelor's level to the PhD level. Some people aren't applying what they know, and they will always remain just that paper. We don't want to be that. So, in order to go beyond what my buddy Lee Lambert would say is a paper PMP, we got to pragmatize it. We got to live it. So, the summary of all this, I tend to use a lot of illustrations because I really want you to get it. Know, grow, sow. Know your purpose in life. Know your purpose as a PMP. Know your purpose as an ACP. Grow to your maximum potential. Sow seeds that benefit others. Okay. That's the leadership answer. You want me to give you the second layer? Because leadership is first. Under that, you have the project management. The project management answer, I want you to go study my buddy. He's not my personal friend, but we refer to him, my buddy Roy and I call him our buddy. Go to Ken Schwaber's company and get some street cred. You know what I'm talking about? Get some street cred. You saw Caroline came on in the beginning. Caroline is one of our PSMs. Now, part of the rites of passage for my students, when you become a PMP, that's the beginning. But I also challenge you to become a PSM and then go to the next level and become a PSPO, because there's nothing like learning from the horse's mouth, right? So there's this joke my buddy Roy and I have about the PSM. It's like your street cred. CSM is great. PSM is your street cred. That exam is rough. If you're able to get through the PSM exam, then the PSPO, then the PAL, if you want to go that far, and then SPS. Hey, hey, hey. If you want to know about scaling and the horrors of it, because this is a good forum for me to talk about that, I want you to go to a couple of websites. I want you to go to Ken Schwaber's website and read up about scaled professional Scrum with Nexus. It is truly a very humane, scalable, lightweight, and you talk about something that is safe. This one is safe. The other one is not. The other one is not. Oh dear, you have to be on the inside to know the joke. But I want to recommend that you go to Ken Schwaber's company. Let me actually put this out here. Ken didn't pay me for this. I am going to put this out there because I know a lot of companies are doing things they're making me nervous. Some companies that I've been affiliated with, I'm like, are you on drugs? You must be on drugs. You must be. Because if you're not on drugs, you're not telling me that you want to go implement SAFe. What's the matter with you? I taught you better than that. But some people are anxious to see quick results. They want quick results, and they want to punish the people. 2 websites. Okay. Number 1, I need you to understand Ken Schwaber's perspective to scaling. Okay. Number 1, scaled professional Scrum. Please, all you PMPs, PGMPs, ACPs, you need to educate yourself about scaling. It's going to come to a theater near you. And when it comes to that theater near you, are you just going to say, oh, well, I guess management knows better? No, you need to challenge your management's dumb idea about implementing SAFe. That's what you need to do, because it will hurt you, just like it's hurt other companies. I'm going to send you this link. Let's go to this link, safedelusion.com. There's too much to be said, and I don't want to pretty it. And I know some people are going to hate what I have to say, and I don't care, because it's the truth. Do you want me to keep painting things with rose tinted glasses? No, don't do SAFe. Don't be dumb. Don't be. Oh my goodness. Someone put me on a soapbox this evening. All right, I'm going to share the link with you. The reason why I'm very passionate about this, I've worked very hard with my buddy Roy in organizations to help them in their agile journey. And some of them are not being smart right now. Some of them want to go implement SAFe. Why would you do that? What are you on? What are you on? Okay, number 1, go to Ken Schwaber's company and learn the alternative. Please. Number 1. Number 2, learn about the horrors of SAFe. That's all I'm going to say. You either like it or you do. You like it or you do. It's like you ain't got no choice, because it's the TRUTH. Please don't go take any of the certifications. You see, Agile is first and foremost a philosophy and a disposition. It is a mindset that enables you to take action, to pivot to the ever-changing world around you. 2 things: mindset, action. Agile is lightweight, airy and breezy, not bumbling and fumbling and lumbering big old frameworks like SAFe, which is why I'm against it. I would rather you look into Ken Schwaber's Scaled Professional Scrum. Ken don't even know me. So don't come say, well, you probably work for Ken. You're one of Ken's spies. Don't be dumb. I'm not a Ken spy. I'm telling the truth. And I'm very passionate about Agile. You want to know why? I got set on this trajectory many, many years ago by an awesome Agile trainer, Tom. Tom Mellor put me on the right trajectory in the world of Scrum. And the more I realized that Scrum is a framework, Agile is a mindset. The Agile mindset is embodied in Scrum because it's lightweight. Safe is not lightweight. We talked about the ACP exam. The ACP exam has been pretty great until they're beginning to introduce stuff that is making it not airy, breezy, lightweight, humanistic. So I'm not a fan of the ACP as at today. I'm not happy with it. I've actually stopped training it. I don't do what I do for monetary gain if I do not believe in it. I have to believe in it, and then I might train it. But if I don't believe in it, I just blow up the bridge and forget about it. As I am almost fixing to about ACP, I'm not happy. And the reason why I know about the ACP and how it is morphing and changing is because I'm listening to the job boards. I'm listening to what people are saying on Reddit. I'm listening to what people are saying on the LinkedIns and the social medias. And it's not looking very nice. So, one of the things I want to guarantee you, if you are my mentee, if you're on my team, I'll tell you the truth. Right now, I have people on my team crying their eyes out about SAFE and the stupid exams that they have to take. The pressure from management. I hate that. I hate that. You have to take the exam. You have to pass the SAFE exam. Are you serious at all? You call yourself a project management leader and you can't pass this exam. And it's a lot of stuff. And it's not even good stuff. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. Over the past few years, I cannot tell you how many people have complained at how it sows confusion. So I know it's a long answer to a simple question, but I want to make sure you don't make a mistake, which is why I'm telling you the honest truth. My perspective. Hey, don't begrudge my perspective. Because I know some of you safe zealots, you're going to see this video and begin chatting in stuff. You're preaching to the choir. You know the Agile community ain't buying that stuff. The problem is your management has bought into the marketing of those people. Anyway, if I had a way to remove this section, because I don't even want to give them publicity, I would. But since it's down in the recording, reminder, safedelusion.com. That's it, right? Read the article. Everyone from the Air Force to well-known Fortune 500s have tried it, and okay, that's that about that. I don't take prisoners, whether it is the world of PMI. I tell it like it TIS is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, right? You know, the great Jack Welch said before he left us, rest his soul, CEO of GE, you know what he said? He said, what is missing in America, in American business, is candor. Candor is missing. Everyone want to be all cute. No one want to tell the truth. So you have management investing millions of dollars in stuff that they shouldn't. Don't do it. Get smart. If you really want to scale, study Nexus, SPS, lightweight. You talk about a carbon copy of the Scrum model that works. I have used this in companies. I've taught it in companies. Nexus, please go read it. And I put a link there as well. As you probably realize, what I believe in, I share. And I truly believe that what Ken has going with the scaled professional scrum is a good step. It's a step in the right direction because scaling is not about big old annoying frameworks that don't take you anywhere. It's a bridge to nowhere. Anyway, enough said. Let's get off that soapbox. Let's move on, my friends, to our next step because we have a workshop coming up. My friend T1000, I hope that gave you some clarity and guidance. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question. I appreciate it. So, community and guidance before we move on. For those of you just coming, we're talking about how you can amp up your project management career. As you can see, there are many moving parts, nooks, and crannies. And at first, you don't need to be concerned with any of the things that we talked about towards the midpoint, such as scaling and stuff like that. That is people who are PMPs, ACPs, yes. Worry about that. You who's just coming in, eh, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. All right. So next, let's talk about something pragmatic. We're going to get pragmatic right about now. We're going to get pragmatic. We're going to get pragmatic. So let me give you some tips. If you have an interview coming up, what I'm about to do is going to help you. But I need you to be a savage, aggressive, relentless. Have you ever seen a lion in pursuit of its prey or tiger in pursuit of its prey? They are relentless. They are bounding towards that prey consistently. You got to do this daily. I don't care whether you've had 100 rejections. The great Thomas Edison said, it's not failure. It's just 10,000 ways how not to build a light bulb. And then he succeeded. 10,000. Imagine that. So you got to be persistent. You got to be aggressive. You got to hunt the opportunity. And it's going to come. The same way I went from the warehouse to the penthouse. Another lesson, I call it foolish truth. Sometimes we are so foolishly and irrelevantly truthful. I went for an interview before my experience getting to the penthouse, and the person interviewing me said, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? And being enthusiastic and clueless, and probably a little bit dumb, when asked the question, I wore everything on my sleeve. Oh, in the next 10 years, well, I would love to own a music studio. You got to remember, I had a history of being a music producer. So I'm going for an interview in a corporate environment, and I'm telling my interviewer, I want to own a music studio. I want to produce artists. I want to create. Wrong answer. Go. Just unceremoniously. I remember he kind of looked at me weird. I'm like, what's wrong with him? Is there anything wrong in having a dream? It's not the right place to share that dream. And I call it the foolish truth episode. When you go for an interview, answer questions appropriately. When they ask you, tell me about yourself, you don't have to tell them everything about your hobbies and what you love doing and how you spend 20 hours on the golf course. They don't want to know that. Tell them what is relevant to the job, bit of background, and how you got to where you are today. That's what they're asking for. So I had another interview I bombed like way early. This was 2000. I remember going up to that place in North London and sitting down, and the man just looking at me like, what planet is this person from? You don't want this job. And yeah. So you got to learn how to interview, my friends. When you're interviewing, look, your resume is gonna get you in the door, but it sure ain't gonna keep you there. You know what's gonna keep you there? Communication. Understanding what to say, when to say it, how to say it, and body language. Some people, they go for interviews and they ask them a question and they're like, and they're looking sheepish. You ain't gonna get that job. Your body language is betraying you. There are three things the great Albert Moravian, Professor Emeritus, he made us understand that when you are speaking, that is just step one. The words are step one. Your tone of voice is another layer, and your body language. And when the three do not add up, you know what people go for? The body language. They are looking at you and your comportment and how your body moves. They are looking at your facial expressions, your nonverbal cues. And that's why it ain't about having the certifications. You could have all the certifications in the world and you go for the interview and the interviewer says, "What is wrong with this guy? Has he ever led a team? His body language, nah, he's not." And that's what happened to me when I went for the job at the Princess in Scottsdale, Arizona. The guy said, "Our customer would spit you out of his mouth." You can't. And our other customer, she's a lady, but you just don't have it. They'll kill you, Phil. I don't think you can do this job. Wow. It wasn't even about my prowess. Everything on paper was good. But an experienced interviewer will look at you and size you up very quickly by your words, your tone of voice, and your body language. And if anything is missing, of course, they defer to the body language. Your resume is great, it gets you in the door, but it ain't going to keep you there. If you have an interview coming up on Monday morning, get your body language right. Get into uber confident. I'm not saying cocky and looking up, giving people side eye. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about confident, friendly, in command. Practice the art of selling yourself. Your resume is just a billboard. But when I get into the store, you got to sell me. Are you selling me? Or are you discouraging me from even spending another second? That interview ended so quick, I couldn't even believe I was back in my car. It was like in the blink of an. What happened? Some of you, that happens to you because you haven't practiced the art of selling yourself. Your resume gets you in the door, but it doesn't keep you there, my friends. So, moving up another level, we're going into the world of the practicals. Right now, we are going to talk about how to position yourself as a newbie. Mind you, I know that you don't have any certifications, but hopefully you're coming for the 360 conference. You will have a micro certification of 4 hours. And then when you finish the online course, The Art of Project Management, you will get a certification of 6 hours. So you have a couple of certifications, micro certs that you can put on your resume. All right. That's the beginning. But tonight, before we get off this call, I am going to show you how to fish, just like I did. I learned how to fish, and I'm excited to show you the tricks because I need someone to blow this up in 2025. I'm not even waiting till the 4th. I'm giving you value tonight. If you're finding value from everything I'm saying, and if what I'm saying is also making you think, I would love for you to smash the like button because you're going to help my buddy Roy and I to get this session out. I want people to watch it. I want to help that struggling individual who was like me, hopeless and worthless when it came to knowing what to do. I was worthless. I had no idea. Imagine thinking that the software development lifecycle was the project management process groups. Worthless. I was worthless. But in the blink of an eye, something changed. The power of mentorship, the power of coaching. And I'm so grateful to my awesome mentor, Mary Hirschner, who is the reason why I am behind this podium, this desk, sharing with you the mysteries of project management and how to get into it. All right. So, with all of that said, my friends, I'm going to show you there are 3 websites that I want to recommend you begin your journey searching. And honestly, searching for work, it can be tedious, but it doesn't have to be. You need to make it fun. See it as a game going after prey. Okay? You're going after prey. I want you to kill the game and eat it. These 2 websites, monster.com and dice.com, were responsible for multiple 6-figure jobs that I got. So I know they work, and they're still here today, decades later. And I'm excited because I know someone's going to find some game and kill it and eat it. If you want to get into the next level of your career as a project manager, when you come on 360.pmradio.org, when you come on the seminar, right? You see the ticker tape below. After you come on the seminar, you are going to be more empowered to search. But for now, I know some of you may not have as much background, but what I've shared with you today, trust me, it can get you an opportunity. You just need to be persistent and find it. So let's do this. Project coordinator, project manager. This is what you do when you're fed up, when you've had enough, and you believe that there is a role for you somewhere in project management. You start taking action. You empower yourself by doing something, not just sitting down saying, oh, I guess I lost my job. I don't know what to do. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't cry over spilt milk. Don't do that. Start looking. Project manager, champion, technology services. What you do is you search, not based on a particular location, but just in general. What this does is it psychologically pumps you. When I see jobs, I get excited. I'm like, yeah, there's hope. There's a way out. There's a job somewhere. I just need to keep going. And honestly, some of these jobs, they look like they're far out. Like, huh, can you do that? You'll be amazed. Some of the jobs I've gotten, they look so complex, but they were just looking for one right person with the right attitude. Remember, again, Zig Ziglar, your attitude, your disposition is what determines your altitude. And it's in the brain, your attitude, right? Your attitude, it's up here. Have a positive mental attitude. So when I look at these jobs, I get excited. I'm like, okay, there's hope. There's hope. Okay, what does this say? The project manager ensures successful completion of company objectives. What do I need? So I skip all of that and I look for what is near and there. Requirements. Bachelor's degree. Okay, I have that. 6 years of automation. Are you kidding? I don't have that. PMP? Oh, no. Oh, ability to secure PMP. Okay. I actually had a job where they said you should be able to get your PMP. I actually got the job. It wasn't a PMP who got the job, and I'm talking about an IT firm. So you just never know. So you go down and you look for what they want. Experience must include 3 years of project management. Wow, so much for that. But look, project coordinator, University of California. Let's take a look. What does it say? All right. So I'm going to go right down to what they're looking. Okay. What are they looking for? What are the requirements? That's the job summary. I don't even waste that much time. Oh, look at that. That's not bad. That's a pretty penny for someone who was making $15 an hour. But then I got to look for what they want. Okay. What are the requirements? Don't tell me the job duties because I'm Superman. I can conquer the world. I can do anything. Show me the requirements. Okay, they want a bachelor's. Okay, I've got that. 2 years of directly related, progressive, responsible experience managing or coordinating construction projects. Oh no, construction. I'm an IT guy. You know what? For some of these jobs, apply anyway because you just never know how far they're ready to go to train whoever they can find that is immediately available. You'll be amazed. Some of these jobs, they have lofty requirements, but maybe that day is just your day where everyone fell asleep and just you showed up for the interview. I've had those. Trust me. I would encourage you, if there's one or two things that just seem off, still apply. Let me tell you another story. I went for an interview. This interview was at a well known company. In fact, if you use an Android phone beginning with the letter M, you might know the company. Motorola. Yes. I went for an interview at Motorola. This time I was on my A game. I did not bomb the interview. I did well in the interview, but they were not looking for a software guy. They wanted a hardware guy. So at the end of the interview, the interviewer said, "Oh, this is great. We'll get back to you." And then they did. They got back to me and said, "Oh, well, we really liked your resume. Don't worry. We're going to keep this. And, if we find something else." That propensity to say, "Yeah, right. Give me a break. You ain't calling me back." But I didn't have that disposition. I kind of liked the guy who interviewed me, but I forgot about it. And I went back to the work I was doing in a different company. I think I was at Honeywell at the time. I was just fixing to change because my contract had run out. I was there for 2 years. And at that time, I was looking around quite desperately for the next gig. And out of the blue, I get a phone call. "We want you to come for an interview." Look, I did not apply. Look, understand what I'm saying. I did not apply for this job. They came back to me and said, "Hey, you came for an interview at such and such a time. We have a different hiring manager that wants to meet with you." The rest is history, my friends. We were going through a big, significant divestiture into Emerson, and they wanted someone on the software side of the house. Perfect opportunity. Watch this, for someone who had prepared themselves by learning the nuts and bolts and rudiments of software, of e-commerce. All the work I had done years ago that I didn't need in defense and space, suddenly it was relevant. I'm Motorola. I went for the interview, bombed. Well, I didn't bomb it, I just wasn't selected, and was reached out to. So what I'm trying to say is, don't lose hope. You might go for an interview and feel, "Why am I even going?" You just never know which other opportunities are available. So you always have to maintain that positive mental attitude. I ended up working in the role. The interviewer, the guy who interviewed me the first time, he is now a friend. He's now one of my buddies. His name is the same as my name, which is ironic and funny. Well, shout out to Philip if he's watching. But it's a stark reminder of the fact that you should never give up in an interview. You just never know what an interview, like this interview pretty much has led to lifelong friendship. Now, he's left Motorola, he's in a different firm, and guess who he's called upon to help him coach, train, mentor, develop his people for PMP, for leadership, for different things? Your buddy Phil. Okay, so I'm telling you all these stories to encourage you. Apply. You might see a job that has maybe one or two things off. Apply. But this website, monster.com, get on it, register, put up your resume, daily log in, like showing up for work and applying to 10 jobs a day. Okay, when you upload your resume and all the information is there, it becomes very easy. I've gotten scores and scores of opportunities. Some I ended up doing, others I let go. Dice is another one. And I'm grateful for Dice because when I left Motorola, the next thing that came in my way was a job in a company I didn't even know existed. And the company was like 5-7 miles from my house. I had no idea about this company. until I started applying for jobs, and it was a job in a gaming company doing video games. But how did I find it? I did the same thing I'm showing you, project manager. Project manager, where are you, my friend who's out in Vegas? My buddy on Facebook is out in Vegas. Let's search. I want a job in Vegas as a project manager. Well, here's a job, project manager. Here's another one. And some of these jobs, like I'm always saying, you just never know how far they're ready to go to train you. This is remote. Well, maybe you want a remote job. Click on it. Put your best foot forward. Put your best foot forward. Okay. A lot of you are also limiting your opportunities. You know what you're doing? What you're doing is discrediting yourself even before you get in. Some of you are like, well, I guess it's a tech job. I can't do that. Why? Apply yourself. I remember getting an opportunity for a role and they wanted someone who had developed test scripts. I didn't have any experience developing test scripts, but I was ready to learn. So I started learning. At that time, there was no LinkedIn Learning, there was no Udemy. I had to scour the web to learn. Okay, what's the best way? Learned, kill the job. Did so great. I did so great. My boss at Honeywell, he got a promotion and he left me in the department of IT effectiveness, but that was cool because I learned a lot. But I did so well in a job that I didn't have a clue about on day one. You got to be ready to do what it takes. Okay. Last but not least, before we jump off this call, we have indeed.com. Again, this is another place you can put in your requirements, whatever you're looking for, and prepare and apply. Does anyone want to learn a secret? I will show the secret if I do get some affirmatives. If I don't get any affirmative, I might just pack up and go home. but if someone says yes, I might be inclined to show you a secret. There are secrets in the world of job applications. They're secrets. If you want to learn a treasured secret, say yes in the chat. If I don't get any response, I guess the secret will have to leave the meeting. Anyone want to know the secret about applying for jobs? This is a secret I taught someone that said, Phil, I'm going for this real high powered job. And I mentor, train, and coach everyone. By the way, I don't think I've shared with you the link to my one-on-one coaching. Let me share that with you. It's pmanonymous.com. Because I coach, mentor, and train people who are looking to go for jobs and they're like, Phil, I'm going for this opportunity. I need some mentoring. I need some coaching. What do I do? How do I do it? Let me put it in the chat for you right there. And I'll just say one-on-one. All right. So if you're looking for one-on-one coaching, that is a different track that is also available. Okay. One-on-one coaching. But one of the things I realized, I got a yes. Oh, my friend T1000. Oh, Deidre, you're still here, Deidre. I applaud you. My goodness. I thought I kept you this morning and you're still on the call. Thank you, Deidre. Okay, so let me show you the trick. So someone came to me and said, Phil, I'm going for this high-powered position. What should I do? I said, give me the job description. Watch me. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what to do. Okay. So let's look for one. Okay, let's click on this. So imagine this was the job that the person came to me and said, Phil, I really need help for this interview. Watch. The job details, all of this content about the job, this needs to be put under a microscope. Let's click on read full job description. Okay. Even the eggheads at Microsoft, they understand one thing. We can be more efficient. So, what has Microsoft done in the past 365 days? Because Microsoft and the government, they have a relationship as contractor and buyer. And Microsoft knows people ain't going to use GPT. Microsoft was smart. They've given you pilots. But I know you're not under those governmental restrictions. You can use GPT. So, what am I going to ask you to do? I'm going to ask you to copy your job and do a deep analysis. Are you with me? The prompt is where the power lies. Okay? For those of you who've read my book, AI for Project Managers, you already know what I'm fixing to do here. I'm going to create a prompt to show you how to kill an interview positively. And the prompt needs to be this: analyze this job description from my define, identify, generate, choose, implement, verify, problem solving model. Boom. What is the problem or challenge? You need to understand the challenge. What resources, stakeholders, and key activities are involved? What solutions or approaches can address the challenge? Which solution best addresses the problem? How will the solutions be executed? And how will they be measured? This is how you enter the interview at a higher frequency of awareness than the interviewer. Because I guarantee you, the interviewer doesn't even know about my Dixiv book. When you analyze a job from this boss perspective, you become a force to be reckoned with when you are armed with the necessary certification, micro certification, positive mental attitude. But that's just step one. You know what else you need to do? Watch this. Prepare 20 possible tough interview questions for my practice with prospective answers based on my job background. This is how you prepare sensibly. Needless to say, this individual who I was mentoring and coaching to take on a role, and this was out in Europe, she came back and said, OMG, are you a wizard? I got the job. I got the job. She couldn't believe it. Now you got to remember, I've been doing this for a long time, even before GPT. GPT is just an amplifier. I know the right questions to ask you to find your weaknesses. I've helped people get employments in Amazon. I've helped people who are already employments in Disney. I've helped people various job specs to get even better in their game. But now I'm giving you a secret. If you can't get Phil, maybe you can get Bill. Bill is the GPT guy. Maybe the GPT bot can help you. Bill the bot. And here you are. Because it knows the right questions to ask. It's done the Dixiv analysis. So here we go. General project management expertise questions, leadership and team management questions, technical and process questions, problem solving and crisis management questions, interpersonal communication, agile, role specific, behavioral, vision, and strategic. Come on now. You know what you would have had to pay a consultant to walk you through those questions? GPT free. I need you to smash the like button if I just added a ton of value to someone. Help me, help me. Wherever you're watching, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, my LinkedIn friends, I'm sorry if I'm not getting all your messages, but this is how you use technology smartly. Like I said, the person who I was helping with the interview, I did this similar. There's one more step. Now, because Deidre and T1000 have already chatted in, yes, I'm going to tell you the final step. You know the final step? The final step. I don't think you're ready for it. The final step is to do a side by side resume analysis. The job, your resume. Do a gap analysis and tell me, what am I missing in my resume? And how can I close the gaps to be ready for this job or the interview? You know, a lot of people, they are looking for cookie cutter, same exact questions. No, that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is to get involved in activating those neurons. So when the question comes, you are activated. Your brain is at already a higher level frequency and you are ready to provide the answers. You don't need to ramp up. You've already been ramping up for days looking at questions like this. So your brain is already warm. Your neurons are already heated up. They're already excited. So when the question hits you and you hear it, you're like, I got an answer. But you want to know one more secret to doing great in an interview? This will be the final thing I show you for today. Final thing, I want to show you how to kill the interview, kill the game and eat it. Kill the game and eat it. The way to kill the game and eat it, my friends, is to develop a catalog of stories. I don't think you understand what I said. Develop a catalog of stories. This is your final boss move for every project management interview. You ready? Okay. When you're going for a project management interview, the questions are going to be revolving around these potential aspects. Now, you may have to write this down, but if you are a PMP, heaven help you if you need to write this down, because this should be hardwired. The three big buckets of questions or stories are: number one, people stories, people who have been a stumbling block, people who have been a hindrance and a challenge, stakeholders. We call them stakeholders. Get your your stakeholder stories in a row for the questions. Tell me a situation when you had a difficult client, a difficult stakeholder. What did you do? That is like the holy grail of PM 101 interviews. Tell me and let me know how you overcame the people question. You better have a catalog of stories. That's number one. Second, process. Have stories that talk about process improvement, upholding the process. Thirdly, business. How you have added value to the business. You need a catalog of stories to support your interview so that you're not scrambling and grasping at straws. When you have these big buckets of people, process, business stories, and the reason why I said if you're PMP, you better know this because this is the holy grail for the domains on your exam, obviously, right? The next level of stories is going into the knowledge area level across integration, scope, schedule, cost, quality, resources, communication, risk, procurement, and stakeholder. If you have a story where you had a challenge in scope, how you overcame it, a challenge in schedule, a challenge in cost, if you have stories that illustrate your proficiency in all these, you are likely to have a hitch-free project management interview. Okay? If you want to expand and grow beyond what I've shown you today, you need to come for the 360.pmradio.org. This happens different points in the year, but as a result of Roy's travel and my travel schedule, we cannot tell you when the next one's going to be. So if you missed this coming out of the gate in January, imagine not having this until like October. The year's already gone, which would be sad. I think the last one we had was in May. Can you imagine May? It's a long time. Jump on this opportunity today. We're giving ridiculous end of the year discounts. This is actually a $799 seminar that you're getting for like 80% off. It's stupid. It's crazy. It's unheard of. Who does that? You get what I'm saying? Even the gold I've dropped for you today, you go for some seminars, they ain't telling you that because they don't even know it. So I want to encourage you, my friends, if you're looking to amp up your project management, take it to the next level, be a beast, be a savage, call in all savages and call in those who are not so we can turn you into one. We got the elixir to turn you into a PM savage. We will. Just show up. By the time my buddy Roy and I are done, you will be looking for raw PM meat. Make you a savage. Take you to that next level so that you can kill the game and watch this. So you can be a river. I need you to help people because that's the way they are going to grow. They're going to evolve. You are going to evolve. Okay? Thank you very much for joining me again. Hey, that is the website, 360.pmradio.org. Any final questions? Oh, thank you, Deidre. Deidre says value added agile mindset. Oh, thank you, Deidre. You're so kind. Deidre is one of our Project Leadership Institute people. And for those of you who have been, certified with me for the past 10 years and so on, I want to challenge you as well. The same way Deidre is on our Leadership Institute, you should have been on my Leadership Institute like yesterday. What are you doing? Send me a message. Inquire how you can join my Project Leadership Institute. Let's get you to the next level as a leader. Get you to that next level in your career. PMP is the beginning. ACP is the beginning. PGMP, PFMP, OPM3, they're beginnings. Okay, let's go to the next level. You owe it to yourself. Don't play small. Certifications are not the answer. They're the beginning. You got to boss up. Okay? For those of you who are new, join the journey. We'll show you how to become a savage and get to the next level. Thank you very much, and bye for now.